Goodness, what has brought me the most joy? The most joy. It's getting out of the shower and the towel's around your waist and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're just like, there I am. I'm not having all these little moments that used to be just being in a t-shirt.
Many transgenders have come out, and this is just one here. And I mean, if you definitely see the emotion that she is expressing here, it doesn't look like she's happy about her transition. It doesn't look like she is enjoying the transition that she took. And a lot of people have come out actually trying to fight this. And this is just one guy in particular who tried to defend, saying that people are hatred or people have hatred or people hate the trans community. But bro, this is way bigger than this. And as I've seen so many of these clips of people who have actually went and made that transition, all to regret that decision, which is, to my understanding, not a reversible transition. And people are having to deal with this, and they are not. They're not coping well, man. But let's check out what this guy had to say, which I think, honestly, if you ask me, is completely far left.
Real reason people hate trans people is because they were assigned a gendered prison at birth and they stayed in that prison. They think that you should too. Trans people said, I get to define myself. I get to have my own freedom and live life the way I want. They are jealous of that freedom and they hate themselves because
okay.
The real reason.
So I don't think at all. I don't think I hate myself because I am not trans. No, I actually indeed I'm very proud of myself and the accomplishments that I have made thus far in life as a straight man. I do not think that there is any hate. And this whole statement, it doesn't come from any educational standpoint, in my opinion, from this gentleman. When you have individuals that are a part of that camp, if you will, and they are openly admitting that this is something that they regret. And if it's not something that they regret, it is something that they do not encourage young people to do. There's such an ease of access to this transition, to the stages of this process, and people don't realize the dangers of it. I looked online. And if you look online and just ask simple questions, and maybe later on in the video, I'll pull it up so you guys see what I'm talking about. If you just look online and just search, transitions, how many people regret, doing the gender transitions, and online it says less than 1%. But I don't think that that's true. I mean, sometimes we go on the internet to find proof of something, to get some credible information, but I don't think something about it. I just don't think that that's as credible. I think that that is a wrongful statistic to manipulate and or lure other people into getting these transitions that have serious mental health repercussions. Check this out.
Angry. What's gonna happen to the kids and the youth? I'm sad for humanity and the children and what's gonna happen.
Wish I could just very harshly say to my young pre-testosterone but trans-identifying self, don't do any of this, don't go on T, don't get surgery, don't even change your name, just stop.
I lived 8 years as Laura Jensen until I woke up and realized that it was totally insane to live this out.
I 100% feel like I was part of some cruel medical and social experiment.
Crazy. Medical and social experiment. But what would they need people to go through transitions? What experiment are they running? What are they trying to gather? I mean, these are people, man. These are people who have gone through transitioning. These are people who are a part of that community. These are people who have already made that decision. First gentleman was crying and in tears because he was worried about the children. Like I'm saying, the how accessible this has become, how easy it is, and they're allowing people at young ages to make these decisions, saying that they're in a place to where they can make this kind of a decision for themselves and for their life. Guys, let me tell you, this is just a case. I don't care what anybody says. This is just a case of deep insecurity rooted in lack of identity. You got to find an identity in Christ. But in order to do that, you got to know who created you. You got to know how you even became about. So you know that you have a creator, someone that thought you were worth dying for, someone who knows exactly who you are inside and out, someone who has the very hairs on your head numbered down to a T. So many of these people don't know who they are. They don't have their identity in Christ. And this is why they find themselves in these situations, man, joining communities or looking for anything in the world that they could possibly look for that would give them some sort of acceptance, that would give them some sort of love to make them feel better. But we're running in the arms of man instead of running to the arms of Christ, man. Let's hear this other story, this gentleman talking about the transition in that he made and just his experience of it as well.
Can you tell me about the procedures that you had?
I've had 7 surgeries. I've had 1 stress heart attack. I've had a helicopter life ride with a pulmonary embolism. I've had 17 rounds of antibiotics. I had 6 inches of hair on the inside of my urethra for 17 months. Nobody would help me, including the doctor that did this to me because I lost my insurance. I get infections every 3 to 4 months. I'm probably not going to live very long.
Bro, every 3 to 4. I'm telling you, there's consequences for this transition that apparently the internet says only less than 1% of people regret. This is not normal, ladies and gentlemen. Any way, shape, or form, man, it is not normal for a person to go under medical procedures to then switch their gender. Guys, you have to know that there's got to be complications with this, man. And it's like, I'm not even coming from a judgmental standpoint. I just know that there has to be something mentally that was completely off in order for a person to get to the point of laying down on an operating table and having their actual selves mutilated. Giving permission to do such a thing. There's something deeper rooted there that needs to be addressed. And this isn't the only gentleman. We've seen other clips, and there's so many more out there. I mean, it'd take forever. We'd be here forever to go over every single person that I discovered in my research that regretted this transition heavily, suffering complications, still not feeling how they thought they were going to feel after the transition, because people think typically that when they get ready to make that transition, that because they made the transition and that they now have this body that they felt that they should always have, that they are now inside of this shell that they felt that they should have been since they were born, they think that they're going to automatically feel great, that they're automatically going to feel better, that their problems are going to go away, that their feelings of insecurity or lack are going to just wither off. But that is not the case. If anything, as we see, it gets worse. Whereas they thought it was going to change for the better, they end up finding out through regret and remorse that there's even more complications and insecurities and troubles that they add on to themselves by trying to get out of it through a transition.
Was there any real discussion of the risks and the side effects? And
No.
Of course not. There's so much money involved in this stuff. How could they go on that huge list of all the things that could possibly go wrong?
No, there's not. And I know that people want to think that there is, but there's not. The truth is that medical transition is experimental. We have studies that said that medical transition helps mental health with kids. They've all been retracted, modified, changed. But the only long-term study tells us 7 to 10 years is when transgender people are the most suicidal.
Crazy. That's sad, man. That's completely sad. And what are we doing about those statistics? But I think they're just focusing so much on, well, we got to make these people feel like they're heard. We got to make these people feel like they're loved. Man, you can really tell the difference as I'm getting older and just experiencing more in the world. You can really tell the difference between those who grew up being coddled all the time and those who experienced a bit of what I like to call tough love. Because yes, we do want to make sure people are heard. We do want to give love to one another and express, ourselves in loving ways towards each other. But sometimes love means saying no. Sometimes love means telling a person that they're going down the wrong path and they need to go down a different direction. Sometimes love looks like not agreeing with a decision or a choice that someone is trying to make because you know it's destructive. Love doesn't always mean saying yes. Parents that raise their kids by thinking that loving them is always saying yes. By the time that child grows up and becomes an adult, they don't know how to deal with the word no very well. And for safety reasons, we're not going to go into what those people become. People who don't like to take no for an answer. Caitlyn Jenner, one famous transgender, if you will, I believe is one of the individuals that really jump-started this thing, really influenced, if you will, the masses to feel more confident in making such a decision. But even in that influence that I think Caitlyn played a part in, I would say that it's interesting that even this individual, I want to say he because I want to respect the woman that gave birth to him. But in this situation, it's very interesting to see that even he regrets. And I wouldn't really say that he even mentioned the word regret as much, but I would say that even he feels some type of way about this procedure and thinks that it might have gone too far in modern day time. Check this out.
I see these, trans women are real women. No, you're not. Okay. That's the bottom line. This is the way I look at my life. I have everything changed. Birth certificate, gender marker, F. Okay. Everything's changed. Driver's license. I'm a pilot. My pilot's license. You name every piece of everything that's in my name is legally Caitlyn Marie Jenner, gender marker F. Okay. As I said earlier, I haven't used the men's room in a million years and probably never will, and have never had a problem. I mean, I go in there. I'm respectful of the other women that are there. A lot of them will know who you are. I go in and do my business and get out, If somebody starts up a conversation, I'll have a conversation with them. So I live my life as a woman, but I don't consider myself this, like, I am a woman now and on and on. No.
That was a little contradicting because you live your life as a woman, but he doesn't consider himself to be a woman, but yet had every single gender marker on any piece of identifying material changed to F to then identify himself as a female. So that's contradictory. I do agree with the statement of, yes, these people, there's so much. I mean, the whole thing is wrong, but there are those people who go super far and they give the complete medical surgery and now they've changed everything. I mean, kind of like Caitlyn Jenner. And then you have other people who kind of keep everything medically sound, if you will, but then they kind of on the outside kind of just put on the embodiment, the gestures, the mannerisms, clothing, if you will, of the opposite sex to then get the identification that way. But I think it's just all wrong, man. And I think it's an identity crisis and an identity issue that so many people have. And with that being said, I want to close up with hearing an actual individual's transition story and a little bit about it, because like I said, it's easy to come in and attack this situation in a judgmental way, but I really want to get an understanding, because just for me, if I'm being honest, I would say that it's, like I said, it's an identity issue. It's a whole lot of insecurity issues, a lack of knowing who Christ is. But that's easy for a believer to say. But someone who's actually gone through it, not on the side of kind of denouncing it and not on the other side of really just, fire torch and rainbow flagging it on down the hallway, but actually explaining to us what this transition is like, what makes a person do such a thing. I think that out of all the videos that I saw, this was one I wanted to share with you guys. Check this out.
I'm a transgender man, meaning I was born a girl. I won't be telling you my name before I transition because, well, I don't want to. I didn't always know I was trans, but I was always trans. I just didn't know what trans was. And when I found out, I instantly knew that that's what I was. But I didn't instantly start transitioning. In 2006, I was living in Portland, Oregon with my ex-girlfriend and her son. I was feeling lost and depressed and was searching for answers. This wasn't new to me, though, because I had spent my childhood trying to figure out who I was. And let me tell you, I went through so many different phases.
There goes that lack of identity.
I was a skater. I was goth. There was even a time when I tried to be white. Yes, you heard that correctly. I was always more comfortable wearing men's clothing. And for a long time, I only dated boys. And yes, I dressed like that when I dated boys too. Believe it or not, I dated women because I thought that that's what I was supposed to do as a masculine presenting person. Back then, the only time you saw women presenting masculine is when they were lesbians. Am I attracted to women? Yes. Do I regret dating women? No. Am I
I think that's because, never mind it. Let's just keep this going.
Attracted to and interested in dating men? Yes. Has that always been the case? Yes. Did I hide it? Absolutely. Now that that's out of the way, back to my transition.
But it's weird because I'm just going to say it. Yeah, you would be interested in man because you're a woman. At the end of the day, you're a woman. So naturally, the biology would attract itself to the opposite sex. But let's hear it from the mouth of a transitioner, a transformer as they call it.
It was 2006 and I was 19 years old. And I remember I started looking for ways to flatten my chest. This was the first time that I came across the term FTM, or female to male. I instantly knew that that was me. I was filled with so much excitement and also so much fear and a bunch of other emotions. But I hid it. I hid who I was for years, actually. I was so afraid of losing my friends and family that I suppressed who I was and just tried to push through. I remember my dad always saying, as long as you're not trying to be no man, when speaking on the way that I presented. That was always like a punch in the chest.
Because you're, at the time, if your father was there, you're a little girl. And it's one thing to might be interested in more aggressive, boy-focused and centered activities, but it's a whole other thing to try and then go and say, based off of what you're interested in, you must change your gender and identify as something else.
Looking back, why would he say that unprovoked? He must have knew. They normally always do. In 2008, I had had enough. I fell into this deep, dark depression. I wouldn't eat or sleep or shower. I just wasn't happy anymore. So I made a decision to start living for myself. I had to come to terms that in order for me to keep living,
He said it right there, and I was going to wait to the end, but he said it right there. His father was there to guide him. That was going to be one of my questions. I wonder what his relationship was like with his father. His father was obviously there to guide him. On the other hand, he received the instruction that I think that he was supposed to receive, but at one point in time, like he said, because of his depression and his lack of identity and his lack of being secure and feeling confident in who she actually is, she decides to then go and live life for herself. That's the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't live life for ourselves because we did not create our own life. The freedom we have, the liberty we have, we did not create that. That was given to us, and we have been bought with prices, guys. There is a profound identity that we have, and if we so search and look for it, we won't find ourselves coming out of episodes of depression, because I'm not saying they won't come in. But if they come in and you have a relationship with the creator, with the one who created you, with Jesus Christ, you are going to know how to come out on the side on top. Not coming out like this young lady who has transformed, saying that she made a decision to live for herself at the end of her depression, of hitting her wit's end. We all hit our wit's end, guys. We all hit our wit's end.
So I made a decision to start living for myself. I had to come to terms that in order for me to keep living, I had to be willing to lose the people who meant the most to me. Because at that point, it was either me or them. And I clearly chose me.
With that smile. I get it. It's supposed to be motivational. Everybody who's feeling down, come on out, transform yourself, get rid of some stuff, cut some things off if you want to, go all out because you chose yourself, and it's invigorating, and it's powerful, and it's just so you to choose you. But what does that do? Please tell me what it does. Besides maybe ruffle someone's feathers to make them feel good for a few seconds, but what does it really do, y'all? Meanwhile, you still have people suffering. I think this is an illness that has not been tapped into, and I think that they have to continue to encourage and uplift themselves with whatever they come up with to justify the fact that not just less than 1%, but probably way more than that, regret that decision. She said, get me all confused up here, that beard on her face. She said that she had to come to terms after the depression and realize that she had to get rid of things, meaning she was going to lose people that meant the world to her, that she loved. And I don't think at any point in time she considered that one of those people that she was walking away from, it wasn't just the daddy that was trying to keep her from going down a path of destruction. She was also making a conscious decision of, I'm gonna walk away from my creator and do things my way. That sounds like somebody you and I might know, and that's the devil who wanted to walk away from his creator and say, I want to do things my way. Look, man, say what you want, but this is a community. These people that are choosing to make these decisions and transform themselves, this is a community of people that need prayer. This is a community of people that need healing. And at the end of the day, man, it doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter how you try to make it look. It's a wrong situation. It's not right. And there's just absolutely nothing good that could come out of something That's bad.